We decided this time that we were going to split the journey up, since going round Antwerp and Paris last time was very difficult, as it usually is here in Europe. So this time we decided to go through Liège, down the right hand side, avoid Paris and Antwerp, and stop at a small French town called Beaune. This is right in the middle of the French wine district or area, however you like to view it. Here's some beautiful drone footage of the area around the hotel where we stayed, had our break in the journey, and the beautiful town of Beaune. I'll put a few photos in. It's a really nice, pleasant stop to make on your way down on what is effectively, if you did it in one go with a normal car, everyone says you could do it in 12 hours, but really with a battery powered car, full electric car, you're into 14, 16 hours, hence why we decided to make the stop. This part of the journey actually took just over 7 hours, or 7.5 hours, so I think, it is a good point to stop and take in the scenery. Okay, after a long journey, we're here in Pradines, south of France. You can see the weather looks beautiful, sky is looking very clear, and the telescope is all set up. There you go, the Epsilon. So the Epsilon, my ED180, is set up, ready to go, with the Milky Way 4C. And now we've just got to test the network connection. Make sure that I've got connection to the PC for tonight. First job, of course, will be polar alignment. So here we hit one of our first problems. We have a cable snag. The SEM60 has a separate RS485 cable. The one I have is a bit bulky, and it gets caught here on the other side of the tripod. So this needs to be changed. That's no good. Cable management. The plug came in the way, and I got the off switch. So that has to change. This is why it's so important where you can do it to get a dry run in light conditions, so you can sort out any potential snags. The last thing you want to do is hit these in the middle of the night. It'll be causing no end of frustration. Put another cord to that. Small things like cable management on a mount like the SEM60 are important. Good to find these issues now. The SEM60 is actually the first dioptron mount I bought new, and I must admit the SEM70 that I have now does have greatly improved cable management through the mount head itself, and it did away with the separate COM cable. You now have a direct USB port to your computer. All in all, a better, slightly better mount. Okay, let's try that again. Let's tell it to go and find the 0 position. So that we're ready. Here I'm now actually putting up my new pop-up tent. This is actually a proper pop-up tent with an aluminium frame. It's much sturdier than the last one I had. The legs slide out. Although you can see me here wrestling with it, it is quite an easy thing to put up. I like to use this to pop over the telescope at the end of the night to keep it protected from the elements and any wind and moisture that may get into unwanted places. Some other people like to wrap a blanket around their telescopes to protect them from the elements. I personally hate this solution. These heavy-duty blankets, well, of course they need to be waterproof, and they normally have some lining to try to protect your equipment, but they tend to rub everything and they trap moisture directly where you don't want it to be. And that's essentially why I much rather use a tent like this, that I can keep a certain amount of air around the telescope to keep it free from, keep it dry, but also free from condensation. The tent is then pegged to the side, just out of the way, just to make sure I've got free access to the telescope in the middle of the night. You don't want to build yourself an obstacle course. You want it as clear as possible, because you will be moving around with a red light to preserve your night vision, of course. I kept this in the video because you can now see that night is starting to fall and the sky is looking wonderful as the sun is setting there in the background from the mount, and we're going to be on for a beautiful session hopefully, and we'll get some great images in this fantastic location. So I put the GoPro to good use, and here you can see the Milky Way crossing over the sky and how beautiful the night is looking. It was amazing the first night. So, what went well and what went wrong? Well, I had an unexpected failure in that Cartes du Ciel 4.2 would not find any LDN Lin dark nebula objects. That was totally unexpected, and I was not able to solve that, hence I ended up working on a target, IC 1318, the butterfly, that I really didn't go to Pradines to image. The second failure was with the telescope, and I can only assume that was because it spent the whole day in the car and overnight in the car, and that is the first time I've ever seen the Epsilon actually due up. I did switch to a target, the Lion's Head. It's sharpless 132, but the data was really ruined by the fact that the telescope did due over, and that is really quite strange, as I said, for the Epsilon. On the positive side, the system's set up, it's polar aligned, we've had our first image run successfully, and hopefully we can solve the sky chart issue with Nina, something that I've never used Nina for. And one of the gentlemen from the club gave me the offline atlas, and you'll see in part 2 whether or not that succeeds. So with that, I'll leave you with part 1, and part 2 will come out shortly. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Bye for now.